From a bullied alien-loving nerd to an absolute speed demon, these are all of Ken Takakura, aka Okarun's forms in Dandadan. And let's start with his nerd form. The first time we see him, he's got the classic anime nerd guy hair, just sitting in class with his nose buried in an occult book while getting bullied. But he's not even flinching because he's been bullied his entire life. Yeah, since he was a kid, people called him weird, dumb, and he never had friends. But this nerd actually has the power to see spirits thanks to his spiritual power and spiritual awareness. Anyway, going back to school, while Okarun's getting bullied, Momo Ayase, a super popular girl, decides to step in and defend him. And once the bullies back off, Momo leaves and Okarun runs after her and starts geeking out about space and aliens because he noticed she looked at his books. Except he's rambling so much he's annoying her. Then Momo says she doesn't believe in aliens, she's all about ghosts since her grandma's a psychic. But yeah, Okarun literally laughs at her. They start arguing and then boom! They make a bet that Okarun has to go to a haunted tunnel to prove ghosts aren't real, and she has to go to a creepy abandoned hospital to prove aliens aren't real. Fast forward to that night, and as Okarun's wandering through the tunnel, out of nowhere, he meets an old lady. Yeah, he of course freaks out and runs away. But bad news, she's actually Turbo Granny, and before he knows it, he's cursed. And that gets us to Okarun's second form, his Turbo Granny Curse form. After Turbo Granny steals his weenie, yep, I'm 100% serious, she curses him, takes over his body, covers his face with a mask of her creepy old face, gives him super long white hair, but keeps his skinny, lanky frame. And as he's cursed by Turbo Granny, he gets insane speed, inhuman strength, some ridiculously strong teeth, like he literally bites off the Serpo's bananas, and some incredible durability. We first see this form when Okarun pops out of Momo's phone after she's been abducted by the Serpos, and he goes completely wild, screaming about taking their bananas while wrecking everything in sight. Even though he's possessed, Okarun sometimes manages to snap out of it, literally splitting Turbo Granny's face mask in half. But as she's way too strong, she continues her rampage and even turns on Momo. The only reason he survives is because Momo awakens her psychokinesis powers, blasts Turbo Granny out of him, and destroys the UFO. But here's the thing, the curse isn't gone. Nope, Turbo Granny's still got his weenie, so Okarun's stuck with this curse. He tries to tell Momo he'll break the curse on his own, but she's like, nope, you die without me. And she's right. Her psychic powers are literally the only thing holding the curse back. If she stops, Okarun loses control of himself and the curse takes over. That's why he ends up staying at Momo's place. And while they're changing clothes, he realizes his family jewels are missing. Yep, gone. No time to process that though, because right then, the doorbell rings, they step outside, and there's a giant alien called the Flatwoods Monster chasing them. So they do the only sensible thing, run for their lives. But here, we see Okarun's next form, his Turbo Granny form with Momo's help. You see, thanks to Momo's psychic powers suppressing the curse, Okarun can actually tap into Turbo Granny's insane powers while still being cursed by her. The moment he uses her powers, his hair shoots up and turns white. 2 thick black stripes appear under his eyes, and he gets this creepy jaw mask with way too many teeth. His body bulks up, his posture hunches forward, and his nails turn black and sharp like claws. Even his outfit changes to have these flame-like details. But it's not just his look that changes, he also gets a totally different personality. He gets this gloomy, depressed, but also confident vibe, says yo at the end of every sentence, and even switches from calling Momo Miss Ayase to Momo-chan. But now, let's talk about speed, because Okarun gets the ridiculous speed of Turbo Granny that allows him to run insanely fast. And with his ultimate move, All Out, he launches himself at 100 kilometers per hour, turning him into a human missile that wrecks anything in his path. However, he can only use All Out twice before completely burning out. Anyway, with his insane speed, Okarun can either blitz his enemies with rapid headbutts and squats, or launch himself like a projectile straight into them. Oh, and he can even fly by spinning his body like a helicopter. On top of that, his new mask gives him a terrifying bite force, strong enough to literally bite all 5 fingers off the Flatwoods Monster. So with super speed, wild agility, crazy strength, and insane durability, Okarun turns into a total menace and deals some serious damage to the Flatwoods Monster to help Momo take it down. Then, after trying to take back Okarun's weenie from Turbo Granny in the Shono City Tunnel, Turbo Granny pulls a fast one and traps them. She almost manages to kill them, but Okarun fights back with a, well, very questionable attack, and Turbo Granny gets pissed and takes over Okarun again. However, Momo snaps out of being knocked out and seals Turbo Granny inside him. But now another spirit from the tunnel is after them, so Okarun has to grab Momo and run like hell, burning through every ounce of speed until Turbo Granny forces her way out and fuses with the earthbound spirit. Still, they escape to Kamigo City thanks to Momo's quick thinking and a conveniently passing train, team up with Seiko, and finally take down Turbo Granny once and for all. So now everything's good, right? Well, not really. I mean, Okarun goes to school the next day, accidentally kisses Momo, which is a total win for him, but he realizes his Kintama are gone. Yup, his balls are missing. He of course freaks out, tells Momo they go back to her house, and Seiko does some weird spiritual stuff, and suddenly this cat doll comes to life. Turns out this cat doll is now actually Turbo Granny. Yep, Turbo Granny was secretly hiding inside him after almost getting exorcised. And when this cranky old lady tells him to kill Momo and Seiko if he wants his balls back, he instead snaps, and his rage triggers his true Turbo Granny form. So moving on to his next form, we reach his true Turbo Granny form. Yeah, this one has the exact same crazy powers as before when he borrowed Turbo Granny's abilities with Momo's help, but now there's a massive difference. You see, after Seiko and Momo ripped Turbo Granny's spirit out of him and sealed her inside a Japanese cat doll, her spiritual power stayed inside Okarun's body. That means he's now got full control over her insane speed and strength and can transform whenever he wants. Like when a couple of guys talked trash about Momo, he snapped, and the Turbo Granny form came out instantly. Or whenever danger shows up, like against Acrobatic Silky, the Serpos, and plenty more enemies, he just transforms and wrecks everyone. But even if he got this badass power, Okarun still of course wants his balls back. So when he asks Turbo Granny where they are, she literally says she lost them. However, he also promises that once he gets them back, he'll give her powers back to her so he can return to a normal human. But until then, he's staying a total badass. And from this point, Okarun only gets stronger. You might think, yeah, he's already OP, he even punched out the Evil Eye. But at that point, Evil Eye was actually still stronger than him. So Okarun started training to become stronger, and when Turbo Granny saw him training and offered to teach him how to use her powers properly, he accepted, although her training methods are, well, questionable. Like she had him fight the creepy music room portraits. But it paid off, as Okarun mastered his combat rhythm, which is a set of 5 attacks in a single beat. So using the rhythm of the Hayashi's crazy music, he could blitz and headbutt all 5 portraits in perfect sequence. With that newfound skill, he finally took down the Evil Eye all on his own. And from there, Okarun kept showing how strong he'd gotten. But then, he runs into a group of aliens who corner him and absolutely destroy him. And Okarun ends up on basically life support, lying in bed while everyone's dealing with the aftermath. So now things get even crazier as we reach Okarun's next form, his spirit form. After being on literal life support, he wakes up to find out he's turned into some kind of astral projection, completely invisible to everyone around him except people with exceptional control over their spiritual power, like Seiko. Oh, and he can of course fly as well. But naturally, he's freaking out, wondering if he can even get back to his body, or if he's just straight up dead. That's when he suddenly gets sucked into the Ayase house's phone and teleports right to Seiko and Turbo Granny. But here's the catch. If he stays in this form too long, he dies. So Turbo Granny, not wanting to lose her powers if he croaks, reluctantly tells him he can save himself by using her powers to fly up and travel through telephone cables. So boom, Okarun's got a new ability, telephone wire transportation. To pull it off, he has to ride the spiral-shaped magnetic field flowing through the wires, zipping along at Turbo Granny's insane speeds. And as if that wasn't enough, Seiko also teaches him spiral power, which is the art of using spiral dynamics to supercharge his abilities and become way stronger. And with that, we get to his next form, his Turbo Granny form V2. So, while the whole family is throwing down with the cur and literally trying to save the world, Okarun taps into his spiral power and his connection to the telephone wires to get back to his body. And when he gets there, he launches back into battle with even more speed and power, ready to absolutely wreck the aliens that have been messing with him and his friends. And when Momo and Vamola get cornered by the spatial suit aliens' reinforcements, Okarun ejects from the telephone wire and moves so fast it's like lightning tearing through the battlefield. He blitzes enemies before they can even blink, smashing through them in a chain of collisions. Then, using an all-out that's been amped up by this insane speed, he completely obliterates the spatial suit alien in a single hit before it can even touch Momo. And with that, Okarun and the family come out on top in the fight, and he shows everyone that he's one of the most dangerous fighters in the entire series. From there, we go straight into the Danmara arc, and here we reach Okarun's full power form. During the Danmara arc, things have gone way off track. Like Momo's trapped inside this super creepy diorama with Unji Zuma, and the only way to escape is to take down the yokai that's causing the mess. So, Okarun jumps right into the curse trunk himself, doing everything he can to get Momo out and keep her safe. That's when he runs into the terrifying and ridiculously powerful Fairy Tail card, the main villain behind this whole cursed trunk. Although, before he can take this scary yokai down, the Fairy Tail card escapes. But Okarun rushes after the yokai since Momo's still trapped and can't escape unless it's destroyed. When he finally catches up, the Fairy Tail card is already throwing hands with the insanely overpowered Count Saint-Germain. But here's the problem. Okarun had already used both of his all-outs and couldn't transform into his Turbo Granny form again. So what does he do? He pushes past his 2 all-out limit and transforms. But now he mutates into a feral new form, sharper masked teeth, glasses turned into creepy glowing eyes, and long white hair flowing back. So together with Saint-Germain, he takes down the Fairy Tail card, freeing Momo once and for all. But that's not all. After taking down the yokai, he also got his second ball back. Yep, he's now got both of his balls. And that brings us to Okarun's next form, and yeah, I've already spoiled a lot in this video since we're literally covering all of his forms, but now we've got some insane spoilers. So yeah, spoiler alert. Okay, Okarun's next form is his No Turbo Granny Powers form. Yep, he actually gives Turbo Granny her powers back. So did he go back to being a weak nerd? Absolutely not. Even without powers, Okarun was now an absolute beast. Like during gym class, he straight up humiliated his old bully Ayase. He sped past him during a race, threw way longer than him, and just embarrassed him over and over thanks to his inhuman physical strength. And literally everyone at school heard about this, and now this nerdy guy had become this super popular guy who everyone thought was cool. And when he and Aira went after Kuki Yukishiro, fighting through her army of pigmites, Okarun used that insane athleticism to dodge, weave, and keep moving. However, his new physical strength wasn't enough when he later came face to face with Ayase, who now had the power of the Jumping Crone yokai. So as Okarun was getting absolutely wrecked, we reach his next form, Okarun's Nanoskin Armor form. During the fight against Ayase and Jet Booster Exosuit Kur, Kinta hooked him up with this nanoskin armor, which Okarun used to protect himself and hit back. Like this armor got verniers on the back, basically jet boosters, letting Okarun blast into the air to dodge attacks or launch crazy fast strikes. The armor also packs pile bunkers on the legs, which he can use to smash enemies with his heels or rocket himself off the ground for massive jumps. But even with all that, Ayase was just way too strong. So Okarun and Kinta decided to go all in and merged into a whole new, even crazier armor form. Or, well, I don't even know what this is. Anyway, with both of them working together in this upgraded suit, they finally managed to take Ayase down. And that brings us the last form of this video, and Okarun's latest and current form, his Oni Club form. After beating Ayase, Seiko tells Manjiro to give Okarun the Oni Club, which, at first glance, just looks like a burnt stick. And Okarun literally thought she was pranking him, but nope, this thing is seriously powerful. Seiko says it's a super reliable weapon that'll help Okarun hold his own now that Turbo Granny's powers are gone. And with Manjiro training him, I just know Okarun is going to become insanely OP. But I guess we'll have to see what happens next. Which of Okarun's forms is your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and watch this video next.